This Week in Baseball Player Profiles as we profile Nate Trosky and Trent Mongero. They come all the way here from Texas and Georgia, correct?
Georgia and California.
Georgia and California, I'm sorry. And to run a camp for fielding. And they came in to spend some time with us. Thanks for coming on this cold Saturday. I can tell you guys are a little bit cold, not used to the weather. You might be a little bit.
No,
not really?
I'm more southern than he is.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I appreciate you guys coming in. So the first question is, and either one of you can answer it and the other one can fill in. How was it when you played baseball growing up in the state that you lived in? How was that like growing up?
Me?
Yeah, you go first.
Yeah, all right. So I grew up in upstate New York, actually, and baseball was not a huge priority. We're talking about the 70s and 80s, early 80s, before I went off to college in Florida. But big lacrosse area, and really there was no instruction, no academies, no camps. We didn't have any tees, batting cages. We didn't have L screen. It was really, we did have some youth coaches who cared and invested in us that were pretty good, but overall, nothing like it is today.
And you, Coach?
I grew up in Northern California, in Monterey, California, and similar to Trent, not a lot of guidance. We had some small camps in our area, but there really was no direction. It was just, you kind of relied on your high school coaches, and I remember a lot of our high school coaches were just teachers, that just cared for us and just wanted to go out and have some fun. And so there wasn't a culture, there wasn't really a community. So we, had to leave our area to go to junior college because, back when we played too, there really wasn't a lot of scholarships. There wasn't showcases, there wasn't any of this stuff. So you pretty much, if you had a dream, you kind of had to find a way to get out of town, and so you're kind of lost. You're just trying to figure it out. And so kind of, Trent and I's journey here is to get back and to help these kids, really give them an opportunity to reach their ceiling. And if you can learn the game early by professionals, not necessarily professional players, but guys that are professional teachers that are, that are very talented in what they do, and these kids, which we see. There's guys in college that are, college baseball is elevated and professional baseball is elevated.
Right.
So we're excited to be in the process and help these young players.
Okay. So in high school, what position did you guys play?
Jeez. Believe it or not, I was a third baseman.
Third baseman? Okay.
I was a third baseman too.
Third baseman too?
Yeah.
Okay.
We were both little midget third basemen.
But it depends who's there, because when you step in, if you got an all-league shortstop, and as a senior and you're a sophomore or a freshman, you always got to pay your dues. So,
yes, sir.
Yeah.
So really from third to second, mostly third to second is what I played.
Yeah, I played mostly third, and it wasn't because we had a stud shortstop. Sorry if he ever hears this interview.
Where did you guys go to college?
I actually went to 3 colleges. I started off at Florida Southern College, which were Division II national champions. Realized really quick that I was not skilled enough and baseball IQ prepared because of the experience I just described in high school. Transferred to JUCO, just down the road. Had a great junior college experience. We had the best finish in school history. I had a good year, and then from there I transferred it was a JUCO, so I went to the University of North Carolina at Wilmington, where I finished my last 2 years playing ball there before my experience with the Braves. So.
Okay.
I went to high school in Monterey, and then I went to junior college at San Jose City Junior College, and that was a powerhouse. Junior colleges in California, or just California, there's 88. So they were one of the top teams in the state, and all the elite guys in our area had a pipeline of one of our kind of hitting guys in town. He knew the coach up there, so he was basically getting all the better players out of town to go up there and play on this elite JC program. So I went to San Jose City Junior College, and then I got a scholarship to Nicholls State University in Thibodaux, Louisiana, in the Southland Conference. At the time, they were a top 30 team in the country, and then I stayed for a semester. I was doing fine, but I wasn't really happy in the environment, so I ended up transferring to Hawaii Pacific University. I finished there, and then spent a few years in professional baseball and then coaching since.
Okay, I know this about you, Nate. You've coached all over the world, from what I've read. But you coached in Germany. You won the national championship, Coach of the Year. What was that like?
It was very interesting. I'm a student of the game, so I've spent my life learning the game and really, try to surround myself with excellent coaches. And so when I went over there, it was really eye-opening because when you're young, you think there's like specific ways things have to be done. You have to take a lead this way because this is what I learned from this so-called elite coach, and he taught me this. And then, so you have all this stuff that fits in a box. Well, when you get to Germany, nothing's fitting in a box because they don't have the same experiences we have. They learn the game from Germans, and they learn it from books. So they do a lot of things that you're like, well, you can't do that. They're like, yes, we can. That's the way we do it. And you're like, but no, that's not right. You don't like squeeze with the bases loaded. They're like, why not? I'm like, well, it's a force out at the plate. Well, they would do it and they'd win games. And they're like, look, it worked. I'm like, well, okay, it did work. So, you're always dealing with this, like, kind of like the defiant child. You're like, hey, this isn't how we do it. Like, why not? And you're like, sometimes you don't have maybe even the answer. You're like, it's just not the way you're supposed to do it. Well, so I was a young coach. I was in my early 20s, and it was my first head job, and I was very excited to get a head job because I knew you need to get a head job to get a head job in the States. My aspirations is to be a college head coach, so I went there for a year. We won the national championship, and we were a team that was an underdog team. And basically, I took a pro approach to our style of play, meaning, we set goals. We had a plan. We're on a mission, and a lot of the Germans, some players are paid, some of them are professional, and some do it because. So not every player in the league is a paid player. So it's like kind of like a pro-am league. Half the players are pro, getting paid, the other half are not. So you kind of have this different vibe. The pro guys are kind of locked in, and the other guys want to drink beers after the game. So, and I went over there to win a national championship. I wanted to build my resume, and I wanted to win. So they had a hard time with me in the beginning because I'm very, very straightforward and I'm locked in. And I don't really drink beers in the beer garden every day. They want to drink beers in the beer garden. Let's go to the beer garden. I said, no, let's go hit extra. Right, let's go. I want to win a championship. So it was very interesting. I'm still with the German national team. I just texted George, the head coach, is the GM, and I'll be working with the German national team still. And Max Kepler was one of our first. He's the center fielder for the Minnesota Twins, the first full-blood German to be in the major leagues, and he signed a multi-million-dollar contract a couple years ago. So he was on our junior national team. So I went from the Pro-Am League to winning the national championship to working with the national team. We went to Italy in 1998 for basically the Olympic trials in Bologna. And we played the Dutch, and we played the Italians. We played them all because of the best teams, from Europe come together, and the top two teams make it to the Olympics. So now baseball is back in the Olympics. So with Germany, we got a chance to actually come back.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Coach
Mongero, 2017 ABCA National High School Coach of the Year. Congratulations to that.
Thank you.
You also wrote a book, author of Winning Baseball. UNCW All-Decade Team, Division I Conference Player of the Year. You're an infielder for the Braves. How do you have time to do all that and be so successful? I mean, that's a pretty impressive resume.
Yeah, probably didn't have time to do it all. I was very blessed and still am blessed to have a wife and children who support me in this journey, and literally I authored 2 books.
2 books.
Yep, and I was, they were traditionally published, which a lot of people, anybody can publish a book these days. It's self-publishing. I was paid by Sterling Publishing, who was owned by Barnes & Noble, to author these books, and so there was a lot of pressure and deadlines, and it wasn't like on my own little journey. So anyways, yeah, it was a major ordeal, and I spent many nights up to 2-3 in the morning, back up at 5 in the morning. I'd get home from baseball practice in high school, and my wife would have dinner for me, bring it down by the computer. And fortunately, my kids were young enough that they don't even really recall all that. time, and it was just an investment I wanted to give back to the game. It wasn't like I knew it all. It was actually a long journey to get to where those books were published. I did it very innocently initially for all the coaches and kids in my area that I was coaching to help build them up in a graduated way, in a developmentally appropriate way, because I felt like the youth leagues were failing the kids. And it kind of just grew legs of its own and went crazy until it ended up as winning baseball. But you know, all the other things that I do are just they just have come about from, you know, just coaching and investing my life into others.
It's awesome.
You guys run camps all over the country, and you also have a ranch. When do you guys want to talk about the camps, what you guys do, and when do you guys want to talk about the camp, what you guys do?
Yeah, I'll talk about the camps. So Nate and I have, you know, we're on this team. We're the faces that you primarily might see, but there's guys behind the scenes, Tony Hildy and Brian Mitchell, and even other guys that help. That's a part of the ranch that he'll talk about. But the elite infield camps that we do, there's a big need for them, and we take an approach that's a little bit different. You know, most people think when they think of an infield camp, especially a 2-day or 3-day, that they're just going to get a bunch of ground balls. In fact, most of the camps we do, there's not a single ground ball hit in 2 days. So it's a lot of developmental skill sets, mindset, mental approach. And we have our own podcast that we do through TroskyRanch.com. And we have some amazing guests like, you know, you do yourself. And they all say that the mental is the separator, because sooner or later your physical skills are going to catch up with you. So yeah, we're teaching the physical skills of infield play and things that Nate and I have learned over the years, both being infield guys for 30 years, that are really myths, you know, things that are still being taught by a lot of people right now that are not actually actions used by high-level infielders. And so we spend a lot of time teaching the right way, reinforcing the right way, and then building on the mental skills, and then more importantly, applying the mental skills to everything that we do at camp. The camps have been extremely well received, and we feel honored and blessed because of that. And I mean, we've done a lot. I mean, since August, even with COVID, you know, we've probably done 14 camps since August and maybe more, and we got all summer almost booked now and next fall. So there's a big need for these camps. So anybody that's interested in hosting a camp that has top-notch facilities, we usually average around 100 campers, and like I think the camp we're at right now in Wichita has, I think there was about 20 kids that raised their hand today from being out of state. We average like 12 to 14 people that fly in from all over the country, and almost half the camp, it was almost 25, said that they were from out of state. So people are flying in all over. Anyways, it's been a lot of fun, and we're going to keep on this journey.
Well, I'm glad you brought up the mind.
The mind part of it. We actually, at our facility, we actually have people that we call it Mind Time Sports, and all the kids have to go through that class about mind time. So that's really good you brought that up, because it's very, very important that a lot of people seem to skip over that part of it, that baseball can be frustrating at times.
Absolutely. Well, this, I mean, it really stems from Nate's journey through the mental side, which I'm sure he can touch on through the ranch.
Okay. Talk about the ranch.
So the ranch has been a dream of mine since I started coaching, and the idea is I was a head coach when I was in 1998. 1996 I was a head college coach, and that was my first college job. My first head job was in Germany in the professional league. So I went from Germany to a head job in California, and I realized that after one season I basically stepped away from the position, and I wanted to focus on player development. And the idea is that we have this game that we all love, but there's so much deficiency. You know, there's so many deficiencies because we don't tackle areas. We just continue to reteach the same information, and there's so much dysfunction. And I'm saying, well, you know, I mean, Trent and I have the exact same story, but our story is no different than anybody else's. Every single person, I mean, there's frustration. Players are frustrated. You know, you got 3 hitting coaches, and they're all telling you different things. You know, there's confusion, and no one's helping you with your response. How do I respond to the adversity that I'm facing? No one's guiding you. There's no like, pathway. There's no guidance. There's no mentorship. It's just like figure it out. Because I had to figure it out, and I didn't figure it out. That's why I'm coaching. You know, I'm saying that's most guys. So they don't figure it out, and they go back and they try to teach you what they didn't figure out.
Right.
But they don't know how to figure it out. So they usually don't even say anything. So there's all these missing links, and even from the infield play, I run these showcases. I've been running them for 15 years, and I have hundreds of college coaches working for me, hundreds, and I have them work with the infielders, and I watch them, and they teach the myths that we are actually teaching players to understand. That there's so many myths in the game and infield play, just specifically, that coaches are actually teaching. And I had one I talked to him last night. He says I just became a member of your infield membership, and he goes, I've changed half of my teaching already because I realized I was teaching it wrong. See, what happens is they regurgitate information, but they don't have time to think it through. You know, guys like Kai Correa, who's actually there's guys that study. Well, that's what we do. We study the craft so that we're not teaching from our memory of what someone taught me, and I don't continue just to pass down information that's dysfunctional, because the system we're in is dysfunctional. Very few people can teach the mental game because they don't understand the mental game. So why are we not doing a better job of educating our coaches so that they understand it? And if you don't apply the mental game to your life daily, you can't teach it because you don't understand it, because the mental game is every day. And when you play baseball, it's every day. When you live, it's every day. So we as coaches, we need to learn, we need to be mentored. So what we're doing with the ranch is we're mentoring coaches. We have a coaching membership that's going to be kicked off here very soon, and Trent and Tony and our staff is headshipping it. I'm contributing to it. Trent's going to be giving the majority of the information with Tony and myself. I'll be contributing, so we're all adding from our experience, and we're having a coaching membership to help coaches on their journey. And we're talking college coaches too. These college coaches, they come to our camps, they listen to our podcast, and they say, man, I got better today. It's because we're spending time addressing, and we also have great guests. So we continue to learn and be inspired. We're all in this, this journey together, and it's beautiful. So the ranch is to provide information. We have an infield membership. The stuff that we're offering does not exist because we've been doing this long enough. We know it doesn't exist. The information that we're giving weekly, we have mental game message, train the brain once a week. It's a 2 to 5 minute mental game talk about how to get your mind right. And it's an ongoing for player development. It's not like we have a camp like today. These kids come to camp, they're excited. But 3 months from now, I don't even remember one thing we said. They're like, wait, what was that again? So it's about building a culture. It's about accountability. It's about mentorship. It's about the 6-tool nation, really. And the 6-tool nation is a lifestyle. It's eating it, it's sleeping it, it's drinking it, it's dreaming it, it's breathing it, it's everything. It's who I am as a person. I'm a baseball player, and what does that mean? Well, that means I'm a son. It means I'm a student, right? It also means I'm a baseball player. It also means, what do I do on the weekend? What are you doing Friday night? What are you doing Saturday morning? What time do you get up Saturday morning? Because what you did Friday night. So it's about the development of the person, the player, the body, soul, spirit, mind, the complete human being. So that's the idea of the ranch. So we're building the coach membership, the infield membership, and then we have lots of pieces that you can have. If you're not interested in the membership, you can buy different pieces to, player development, mental game stuff, all kinds of wonderful things. Like the throwing program that we recently came out with, you can say, hey, I want the throwing program and I don't want to be a member. Well, that's fine. So there's all these different pieces. And it's very exciting because it's housing all this information for development.
And is there a website for that? You want to give that website out?
Sure, that's troskyranch.com.
Okay.
And it's continually growing. It's Trent and myself. We're basically building it with Tony and Brian. We have a team, and we're the Trosky Ranch team, and we're very excited about it. It's just really, we have hundreds of members already, and that are growing weekly with us, and we just started just a few months ago. But we've been building this for 35 years.
Right.
It's now we're putting it in a place, and now we have a team, so we can build and build and build. It's
Okay.
exciting.
Well,
That's really good. It's very, really interesting, and I'll definitely be checking that out, I'll tell you that. So what do you think? You guys have all the experience in the world about this. What do you think college coaches are looking at when they go watch a kid to recruit him?
Okay, we just talked about it. Nail that one.
Yeah, so I call it the order of recruitment. and it's a pretty big order. It begins with your GPA and your grad year, so right from the beginning. So college coaches are recruiting positions in grad years, right? So boom, I want to know grad year, position, and I want to know your GPA right from the top. So I can pretty much eliminate like 98% to 99, because how many players are most colleges recruiting anyways? There's a handful. Sometimes it might bring in 5 recruits, sometimes it might be 12, sometimes it might be 2. It just depends the year, right? Is it a heavy year or is it a light year? So let's just say I'm at Stanford University and I'm looking for a left-handed hitting catcher from the 2024 class, and I'm looking for a left-handed pitcher, I'm looking for a right-handed. So I'm looking for 3 players. So I know what grad year I'm looking for because I know what I have, right? So I go, I know what I have, I know what my needs are. So it's all need-based. So it goes need-based, your position in grad year. So when guys are looking to colleges, they need to understand, it's not about I'm a good player and I want to play there. It's like, do they need me? Is there even a position available? So then it goes to their GPA. The GPA really sets it off, because if you can't get into my school, and or if you show me that you lack the self-discipline because you can't achieve in the classroom, I'm not interested in you. So the guy goes, I'm a 3-1. Well, first of all, you've already eliminated over 50% of the colleges in California. I could just go down the list, from Loyola Marymount, from USF, from Santa Clara, from USD, from Stanford. I mean, the list just goes down, Pepperdine. You can just go down the list.
Right.
You're eliminated. UCLA, USC. Now, unless you're a pitcher throwing 95, they might find a way to get you in. But if you're a good player looking to be recruited and you have an average GPA, not interested. So once you pass the 3, I need to get through the grad year, the position, and the GPA. So right now I'm a college coach, I'm at an event. I roll in and I know I'm at the Arizona Fall Classic. There's 85 teams. I know exactly what my recruiting needs are. The grad year I'm looking for, the needs, and I know the GPA, what I'm looking for to get in my school. So what I do is I get my program and I roll in and I open that program up and I go to the elite teams. Understand, you need to be on a quality team that has a reputation, that builds relationships, and it's had a following, and it's placed players. Now, if you're not on a good team, you need to be very proactive. And let's just say you're not on an elite team. It's a little bit more challenging, but if you learn how to be proactive, you can actually find your way into receiving. So if I'm a left-handed pitcher and I play for team nobody, right, and I'm throwing 82 and I'm a freshman, and my coach reaches out to Cal State Fullerton, the guy's going to say, well, when are you guys playing in Southern California? I'll come watch him. He's throwing 82. He's a sophomore. He's 5'11". His dad's 6'3". I mean, right? Makes sense, right? So it doesn't necessarily always have to be on the elite team. I just want to paint the picture. It does help, because when the college coach goes to that event, he's going, boom, I know these 6 top teams, and he goes right to them, and I also recruit from these guys generally. So once you get through GPA, position, grad year, boom, then what we do is we go right to the eye test. So now we're watching you. So you pass the first 3, I circle you, I come out, I'm watching the game right now. Okay, you guys are running and stretching. I know number 7, number 11, and number 4 are the 3 guys I'm looking for. I'm looking for a left-handed hitting catcher, I'm looking for a left-handed pitcher and right-handed pitcher from the 2023 class. I know that. I just have you circled, then I watch you. And now I want to watch how you move, and I want to how you interact with your teammates, and I want to look at your body. So we're talking eye test, and we're talking about basically your spirit amongst your team. Once you pass that test, now you got to get past that test. Now we're going into the tools. So now I'm watching your 5 physical tools. And it could be, now I'm just watching you play catch. I could be watching you do in and out. I could watch you during the game throwing across the infield. I could watch the catcher throwing down. So I'm watching throw tool, and getting your home to first, right? And checking out your bat speed, how hard you're hitting the ball. You have some exit speed, you have some pop. So I'm kind of categorizing your tools. So you went through, you passed the eye test, okay? I like your spirit, okay? Now I go to tools. Now once you get to the tools, now I go through the 5 mental makeup components of the 6 tool. I go grinder, dirtbag, bulldog, rock, and rat. So I start at the top with focus. Does he take pitches off? How focused is he? Does he take pitches off in the batter's box? Does he take pitches off on defense? I'm sitting there for 7 innings. I'm watching you the whole time, every pitch. Are you on time? Are you present? Do you have intent? Do you take pitches off when you bat? So is he a grinder? I go through that checklist. Then I go to dirtbag, the energy. What kind of energy does he bring in the dugout? Does he pick guys up? Does he have the spirit in the dugout, or he even has relationships with the guys in the dugout? We're looking for guys that are winners, that make others around them better. Is he the first guy out of his position? Okay, is he hard 90s? You know, I'm looking for the dirtbag. So boom, he checks that box. Then I go to the bulldog. I'm looking for confidence. I'm looking for guys that play big, right? I don't care how big you are. I'm looking for guys that play. Oh, you checked that box. Now I'm going to the rock. Something goes wrong. You make an error in the second. Okay, what happens on the next play to you? What happens on the next pitch? Do you set up with pre-pitch the same as you did before the error? When you come back in, you know, what kind of at bat do you have? Does it affect you? Now do you start to be, you know, are you shut down your communication because you're bothered? Are you internal now versus external? Hey, 1 out, 2 on a hit. Now you're thinking about yourself, right? So how do you respond to adversity? You know, it could be an at bat, poor at bat. So we go through the rock. Oh, he checks that box. Well, I love it. I love his response. Well, now the preparation. The whole time I'm watching how you prepare for each at bat. I'm watching how you prepare before the game, how important your stretching is, how you play catch. So we just went GDB, double R, grinder, dirtbag, bulldog, rock, and rat. That's energy, that's focus, that's confidence, that's bounce back, and that's preparation. So now you pass those tests. Now I'm not even done. Now I'm going to the results. Now I go, okay, now what kind of results do we get? And everybody goes backwards. They go results first. Results are last. A kid went 3 for 3 and he's not being recruited. Yeah, because he's not the grinder. He doesn't have energy, right? He complains when the umpire makes, I mean, you can just go down the list, right? So we go the actual backwards route. We work backwards to front. All the parents and all the coaches are going front to back. Oh, my kid got 3 hits today. He's batting 340. Where did we begin with? We begin with grad year position GPA, right from the top. Then what happens next? Eye test. Wow, what kind of athlete is this? How serious does he take his body? Right? We go, and so I mean, that's the order. That's the real order. Now, do all recruiters go in that order? No, because they're not real recruiters. They're imposters, and that's why they don't win. But this is the recipe for the winners. The winners go, boom, results are last. We don't worry about performance. We focus on the process, and it begins with GPA, and that's going to tell me first and foremost about your character.
Right. I agree with you 100%. You got anything you want to add to that, Coach?
Perfect.
Okay.
Advice to parents for youth kids bringing kids up.
Give them, don't try to
Moving on.
Yeah. 29 years of coaching high school by choice. It's a level I chose because of my high school experience. So I have a lot of insight into, you know, parents, although most of them have been pretty good, honestly. The best advice I have for parents in a nutshell is simply this. Prepare your child for the path. Don't try to prepare the path for your child. Don't run out in front of your child, removing every obstacle, trying to make, you know, their life a rose garden. Teach them how to handle adversity. Prepare them for adversity because it's going to come their way. Support them and love them, but don't rescue them all the time. If they're in a really bad situation that's truly an ethical situation, there's some ethics involved, then fine. But teach them how to fight, stay the course, earn their playing time, and really just to grow through the adversity, because that's what creates the GDBRR that he just spoke about. You know, that the toughness and, you know, the bounce back and the confidence, because most players in high school, the better players, don't face a ton of adversity, and when it finally punches them in the face, figuratively, at some point, if they've always had their path prepared, you know, they don't typically respond well. So I encourage parents to be parents and to go to games and to have a strategy ahead of time for how they're going to handle the difficult moments when their son or daughter's not playing well, when they're not happy with the coach's decisions, they're not getting enough playing time, or batting in the position they feel like they should be batting, or the position they should be playing. Because emotion is real and we want our kids to do well. There's no doubt about that. We all want our children to succeed. And it's not easy to watch them struggle. But, you know, I think emotion and logic don't mix real well. I think most parents, when you're talking to them in a non-emotional scenario, are going to be agreeing with everything that I'm saying. But when it's their kid, you know, going through the trouble, the troubles, it's like all rules are out. And I think you have to have a plan. You know, I had to coach my own son in high school. And, wasn't sure that I wanted to do that at first, and I'm glad that I did now. You know, I had to have rules for that. I had to have guidelines and that I had to adhere to, no matter how hard it was to adhere to them, for the betterment of his development. And I feel like I did a pretty good job. Not great, but pretty good. And so that's what I would encourage the parents, is way too much running out in front of our kids, plowing away every little thing that might cause them some sort of struggle or disappointment or failure. Failure is going to come. I think you can teach. There's always a teachable moment in the bad. In fact, I think we learn a lot more from the struggles than we do from the successes. So if we can take that approach, I think the child is going to be better off for it in the long run, especially as an athlete, especially if they're able to get to the collegiate or professional level. That's when it's really going to pay its dividends. Other than that, it pays its dividends, you know, at the level they're at, but it pays dividends as a human being in society as well.
Yes.
It goes back to, I always make the comment, as coaches, we're trying to raise better young men. If they make it to the major leagues, that's because they have the gifts to do it. But from my standpoint, I'm always looking to try to raise a better young man or be a good mentor to them.
Sure.
Advice for the class of 21 and 22. Obviously, JUCOs gave everybody next year another redshirt year.
2 in a row.
Yeah. So it's going to make the recruiting a little bit harder for the class of 22, especially in this area. But what advice could you give to the class of 21 and 22 to continue to look to follow their dreams to go to college?
So 21 is
Seniors, and we have our
Yes.
juniors right now. Well, first and foremost, you have to focus on your process. So the question is how good is your process? Because you'll never be a great player if you don't have a great process. And most players really think that they can kind of live a diverse lifestyle. Like, I can do what I want on the weekends, and I'll go to practice. If you want to be an elite player and give yourself opportunities, you have to live like it. And so it begins really with aligning your life. It's an alignment. And we have a law, we call it the law of alignment. It's very simple. You can't live a life without self-discipline, values, and principle, and expect life to give you what you want. You don't get what you want because you want it. You get what you want because you pay the price. The greater the want, the greater the price. Pay the price. So the question is what do you want? And if players really believe that they want to be collegiate players, most of them have no clue what that even means. So they say, yeah, I want to be a collegiate player. Well, now are you aligned to being a collegiate player that's giving yourself an opportunity actually to step in and play? Now, we have to have perspective of the situation. The situation is telling us that there's too many players, right? So you might have to wait in line. You might even have to redshirt. So being open-minded and understanding that it's not about your agenda, it's about releasing and receiving versus grasping and controlling. It's a very simple saying. We grasp and control. We want everything to go the way we want. That's our expectations. Right? But when our experience doesn't meet our expectations, you have problems. You have frustration, you have tension, you have worry, you have fear. So now you step in because it's not going the way you want. And now it comes from the parents too. Trent's talking about these parents. The parents get in the way because they're bothered, right? They're bothered because my kid's not playing as much as he should. He's not even playing yet. Or he has to wait in line, or they're asking to redshirt. Versus understand that we must release and receive what's given to us. We call it the river. Around each bend, no one knows what awaits. We try to control the game. We try to control our journey. You can't control it. You need to get in the river and enjoy the adventure. So get in the river, get in the raft, enjoy the adventure. And then when you come around this bend, who knows what's going to happen? The guy might go down. We've been interviewing countless big leaguers and big league coaches and professionals in player development. It's guys that are willing to wait and be prepared. So when the opportunities come, we're talking about third string second basemen becoming big leaguers. I mean, how did it happen? Guys get hurt, and this is why I don't think it's as hard as most people think, because most people are not aligned. So right now I step into the college, and you know what happens when my third baseman, I'm the third string third baseman, and I step in. The first guy is probably he's going to end up being ineligible, the first guy. The second guy is going to be messing around on the weekend, so he shows up late. Okay, there's always drama, because everybody loves drama. Well, if you're the guy that doesn't love drama because you have your life aligned, you know what happens? The opportunity will come. So if you release and receive your expectation, I have to start. No, there's big rosters. They're big. So we need to accept where we're at and say, hey, how am I going to be prepared so when my opportunity arises, I will be ready. Now, being proactive is everything. These guys need to be proactive. And too many players sit back. They say, I'm waiting for someone to find me. Good luck to you, because it's not going to happen. You have to identify schools that are the right fit for you. The right fit is very simple. It starts with the academic fit. It goes academic, financial, athletic, and social. You go through those 4 fits and you go, okay, I'm going to identify schools that are a good fit for me. Reach realistic reserve, put them in 3 categories. You got your 3 categories. You say, okay, now this is my list, and I'm going to work off of my list because they're a good fit for me. The reach schools are always a little bit out of reach. Hey, we say, my hat's off to you. I want to give you the opportunity to reach. But let's also have our realistic schools and our reserve schools. So now when they're proactive and they're reaching out, what happens is they're actually in the process. Instead of relying on someone to help them, you can help yourself. When I left Nicholls State and I went to Hawaii Pacific University, I had nothing because I walked away from Division I scholarship. I'm like, what am I going to do? I became my own agent. I just got on the phone. Nate Trosky. This is my resume. This is where I played. You know how many offers? I had like 10 offers in like a week. People are afraid to be proactive. Understand, it is your responsibility to be proactive. So these guys need to be proactive, but you can't just be proactive to any school. Identify the right fits. We just went through the fit list. Go through the fit list, identify, put them on your list and say, now it's time to be proactive. Is all you need, really, it's very simple. Give me a couple throws, watch you play catch. 3 throws, 3 firm throws, move your feet. Boom, give me 3. Give me 1 home to first, give me 5 swings from the side. If you're a catcher, give me 2 throws down, 2 blocks, 2, it's all I need to see. Because if we can see it in 2, we can see it in 3. You can give me a 2-minute video, and I say, you know what, I like this guy. He's got a good GPA, okay? He's a good reference. I'm going to call his reference. Reference says something good, or I'll just email him real quick. Oh, this guy's an interesting player. So now you're building. You are being proactive in the process. So these guys need to be proactive. They need to release and receive all their expectations and stop worrying and say, this is the way it is, and say, right now, I'm going to find my way in this process by being proactive and being prepared and being aligned. Guys, you can't have it all because you want it. You have it because you're willing to pay the price one day at a time. And that's a small number. They all think Friday night they can do whatever they want and get up. Let me give you a quick story. Saturday morning, what time do you get up? That's my question to you. And Sunday morning. The real guys are up at like 6:30 to 7:30 to 8. You know why? Because they're in the gym while you're waking up late because you're tired because all the stuff you're doing Friday night. You know what time you're getting up? Probably 10 o'clock. No chance. Align.
Really good. Some good stuff there. What do players, or what should players be doing right now that are prepared to go to college? They've already committed, so the class of 21. What do you guys feel that they should be doing right now to get ready for that next level? Because not all of them are ready. They think they are, but they don't know what they're walking into because they're going to be facing men when they get into there. You know, they could be walking to a D1 and facing a guy that's 22, 23 years old. What do you guys suggest?
Well, pretty strong feelings on this one. Basically, a commitment, even a sign, is just, you're just getting in the door. You're just walking in the door. It's an opportunity, and you better be prepared for that opportunity. And it starts with your high school season. You know, if with COVID you're fortunate to have it, we're already in the 3rd week of ours, where I'm at, and we have guys that are committed. So you can't rest on your commitment. You're just literally walking in the door. You haven't even walked in the door yet.
Right. So,
you know, to think you've somehow arrived is a big mistake. It should light your fire to be prepared even more. But I encourage people to truly try to enjoy where they're at, because that opportunity of playing with your high school buddies, it's going to come and go, and you never get it back. And if all you're looking is to the next, to the next, to the next, you can't even enjoy where you are. Enjoying where you are has an element of preparation to it, especially if you're a guy that's going to go already committed to play at the next level. And Nate just talked about being aligned to your goals. So you have to live in a way and behave in such a way that reflects your intent. And you know, you got to try to be prepared to play well, you know, during the high school season. I mean, you're not so far away from somebody decommitting to you. Now, once you've signed, I guess, to 2021, you're probably going to end up there. But if you think you got any shot of walking on that campus and starting, I don't care if it's a D3, NAI, JUCO. My son played College of Central Florida, junior college. I mean, they're top 5, they were first in the country 2 years ago for like 10 weeks. They have dudes on their team. And if you go to that JUCO can be deep. I mean, all the guys are at major Division I schools when they leave in pro draft picks. The average pitcher is 92 to 93 miles an hour on that staff. That's a lot of the better JUCOs. My point is, don't think just because you go D3 or JUCO or NAI that you're somehow going to be like on the field. First of all, your baseball IQ better be at another level, because most college baseball players, after they have some experience, they understand the speed of the game and they understand how to play the game a lot better than they did in high school. So just because you have physical tools, you run fast, you throw hard, you hit, have a good exit velo, and you do pretty well in high school, does nothing to guarantee that you're going to step on the field as a freshman. You have to arrive and prove that you belong and that you're trustworthy, that you're going to be in the right place at the right time on the field and off the field. You're going to, be in the classroom. You're going to be on time. You're going to understand how to work and sustain a year-long grind of collegiate baseball, weight room, study hall, classes, disappointments, bus rides, hotels, fast food. So, it's basically a microcosm of professional baseball, with probably more on your plate in some cases because of the academic side that's put on you. But so yeah, that's a lot. But unfortunately, way too many are thinking that once they ink on that paper that somehow they're entitled to something, and those are the ones that typically end up on the transfer portal.
Yes, sir.
Put it that way.
You want to add anything to that, Coach?
Sure. A lot of guys think that they can go to college and they can flip the switch. It's like, now it's time to really work hard. And, I'm a senior and I'm on my high school team. I'm one of the best guys, maybe even in the county, in the area. So what happens is they start to measure themselves not to the guys where they're going. So it's like, well, whose job are you going to beat out? Because you got to take someone's job. So they don't have this vision, this more of the telescope looking to the future. They really have to see the future. And what happens is when you see the future and someone paints the perspective, it literally changes the way you live. But what happens is they're in comfort zone and everybody's happy. You know why? Because you're pretty good. But you know what happens next year? You're a nobody. You're a freshman and there's going to be 40 guys out on the field. And there's 3 guys at each position. And one guy's a returning all-league guy. And the 2 other guys, one guy's on 25%, the other guy's a free guy, but he's pretty good too. So you're going to just just walk in and it doesn't matter if you're on a scholarship. And so they don't really understand that they have to look to the future and they have to prepare for the future. So however they live today, does it translate on how they're going to win a job in college? And very few players can, because they get by with what they want. Okay, they do whatever they want because they're already good, but good according to what? So they have to really look to the future and say, what is my intent? So I'll give you an example. My nephew I work with daily, his intent to go to Oregon State next year is to be a freshman All-American, and whoever's at shortstop, they don't play there anymore. It's not like, well, that guy's, it doesn't matter if he's all league. I'm coming in to take your job. So how do you think he trains during the week? He's on fire every single day. It's because but if he was sitting back and saying, I made the area codes, I made Team USA, and I got a scholarship, and I'm the best player in my area. Dude, I'm really good. Well, what do you think he's going to do? He's going to take days off. He doesn't want to take days off because he has intent on where he's going and he knows whose job he's going to take. It's like, I'm coming in to take your job. It's not like I'm here to wait. No, you're going to have to wait for me. So it's a whole nother level of intent. And once you change your intent, it changes how you live. It changes how you approach the weight room. See, you don't miss weight training, right? And I just gained 15 pounds the last 3 months of muscle and my 60 just dropped 1.5 My velo went up 3 miles an hour across the diamond because I got a job to do. I'm taking his job.
Right.
So it's really about intent. It's really about your vision. It's looking to the future and saying, where am I going to be when I step in? Because there's too many guys, okay, that are there. There's not enough spots. There just isn't. So it's about today. It's not about, well, I'll figure it out when I get there and everything's going to work out because they gave me 25%. It doesn't work like that.
Right. I agree with you 100%.
Both of you guys have your own podcasts. You want to tell us the name of your podcast and how to reach it, and each of you?
Yeah, I mean, we have our own, but they're basically underneath the same umbrella
Right.
of Trosky Ranch. I mean, Mongero Mondays are a general coaching forum. We've had some phenomenal guests on all of our podcasts, but that's Monday night. We're going to continue on. I think we've had 25 episodes of that. Trosky Tuesday is me and Nate. That's infield specific. That's Tuesday nights. These are both 8 o'clock Eastern, Mongero Monday, Trosky Tuesday. And then we have our XM radio show on we record it sometimes in advance, but it plays on Saturday nights on XM radio. And that is us together again. So, and all of that stuff is ours.
Right.
Even the XM radio show we own that material, even though it's broadcast out through XM. So we have all of our podcasts they're on Apple and they're on what the heck? Spotify. Yeah, Spotify, Apple, and then of course YouTube. And then if you go to TroskyRanch.com and look under that, that element there, you'll be able to have access to links to all of that information. But yeah, we work extremely hard at that, and we've enjoyed it. We've been doing it a while. Trosky Tuesdays have how many now?
38.
Huh?
38.
38, creeping up on 40.
There you
That's
go.
only infield play. It's
Yeah,
38
trust me.
episodes on infield, and there's going to be about 5,000 in the next 5 years. So
Right.
it's only infield play.
Yeah.
And we just don't like talk about like putting your shoes on. I mean, we talk about real stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, we
That's
get
pretty cool.
very deep. So yeah, there's 3 of them. And Mongero Mondays is, like I said, coaching, broad scope. And then XM Radio, we have tremendous guests, like off the charts. I mean, I just had Adam Wainwright, on my Mongero Monday. We've had Josh Bonifay. He's on this weekend coming up. He's the director of player development for the Philadelphia Phillies. We've had Dayton Moore, who's the GM of the Kansas City Royals. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. So, not trying to name drop, but I mean, we've had some really
Right.
impressive guests.
That's awesome.
And the goal is to really inform the listeners to help them on their journey, because
Yep.
we all look back and say, well, we wish we would have done it different. So the idea really is to give them the information now so that you know. I mean, when you listen to these guys, I mean, and it's for our listeners, for our young listeners, it goes back to alignment. Like Dayton Moore, he's the general manager of the Kansas City Royals. You guys all want to play in the big leagues. It's like they all think that they could do whatever they. I mean, and I'm very forward on this because they all think they can live the way they want. You can't. No one's going to give you $1. And when they find out that you're not aligned to the goal and the mission of the team and living with excellence on and off the field, you know what happens? Someone will take your job like this. It's like the wind. You're gone with the wind. It's so fast. So when you hear these elite player development, they're talking about, these guys don't even, half these guys have a low IQ. It's like, how are you going to play the game when you're out of shape because you guys just go to batting cages and swing? I mean, they're going out with working the defense, and these guys can't even get through a defense. These are pro guys in the minor leagues because they don't even know how to stay in shape. Then where's the IQ? Oh, wow. So all these pieces, we're giving the information so that now they have there's no excuses. The choice is yours. You can do what you want, but we're giving it to you, and we're so excited to share with you because Trent and I's journey is just like we call it the graveyard. We're all in it. It's disparity. We all set out to accomplish goals. We don't accomplish them. So then we just recycle this disparity. And then we try to, so we have the guys, including ourselves, but we're contributing with Dayton. What are you looking for, right? What is he looking for, right? What is it? They're going, wow, that matters. You know what happens? These kids go, really? It matters? First guy we had was Dean Stotts from Stanford. He goes, if you are disrespectful to your mom on our recruiting trip, I mean, just like the slight, like kind of like, whatever, mom, you're done. They're like, you know how rude kids are to their parents? They have no clue. But the college coach is saying, sorry, dude, you can go play softball for the rest of your life. Game over. But so they start hearing it from where they want to go, and they're like, wow.
Right.
Your Twitter, what's on your Instagram? Oh, Snapchat, what'd you put on last week? I saw it. Oh, game over. And they start going, wow, I need to really step it up.
Right.
Because they're not getting it from anywhere else. They're not. So it's like straight from the horse's mouth, here
Yep.
it is, what do you want to do?
Yep.
And it's exciting. So these episodes are awesome. It's Trent and I sharing, and we have tremendous guests. And it's about helping you guys, really. It's just about helping you guys not look back and say, what if, man? I wish
Correct.
I would have, could have, should have.
Well, I appreciate that.
That and what you guys are doing, I really do. So, fun question here. Outside of all the stuff you do, what hobbies do you have? Do you have time for anything?
I like to surf.
Sir?
Yeah, I like to hang out with mountain lions. Yeah, guys going on. I've seen 6 mountain lions in my house in the last like 6 months. Last night I was going home. I was hanging out with one for about a minute. He was just like right there. I'm like, "What's up, bro?" So I hang out with lions and I go surfing.
Okay.
I love
Coach Jared?
Yeah, I don't mean to sound tacky, but my hobby is hanging out with my wife when I get free time. We live at the beach. We're very blessed. We live in southeast Georgia on St. Simon's Island. And if I get some free time, it's usually with her. We usually drive over to our neighboring island, Jekyll Island, and go to the beach there. And I have 2 children in college, so my son's playing college baseball. So, you know, we like to go see him play. And then my daughter is a student at the University of Georgia who travels the world, and she's extremely intelligent with all sorts of goals and aspirations. And we try to support her and go see her. So my family is my priority, and that is my hobby. Baseball is what I do. My family is what I love.
Okay.
Last question for you guys before we end the show. Any additional advice to players, parents, anybody listening that you can give to, like you said, to teach them what they need to do to develop and get better?
Want to kick it off?
Sure, I like to go with the law of unintended consequences, and basically it's what's left unintended goes unintended, and what goes unintended will soon diminish and decline. So whatever you leave unintended in your life, it will diminish and decline. The longer the time, the greater the decline. So the key is to identify what you want to be good at, and what is the process to be good at what you want to be good at. That's the law of the process. So if I learn my process, so from the hitting side, you say, okay, I want to be a great hitter. Well, hitting is just one of the 5 physical tools, not including the 6th tool. So if you say, well, I want to be an elite hitter, well, then you go through the qualities of an elite hitter. You say, okay, how often am I developing those qualities, right? So you go, I haven't worked on that one. So let's just talk about swing and miss. Let's talk about barreling balls. Let's talk about controlling the strike zone. Let's talk about hitting with a plan. Anything that you'd identify. So if you get together with your hitting guy and you say, let's identify the 20 qualities of elite hitters. So you go through them. And then let's talk about what do they do. This is part of their process. They have a regular routine. They have lead-up drills to get into their games. So whatever they do, and you say, okay, now that's my process. I'm building a process to everything I want to be good at. So once I'm building my process, now I say if I leave something unintended, what happens? The law of unintended consequences says it will diminish and decline. So I have to apply what I want to. So if I want to have great pitch recognition, and I want to have command of the strike zone and great awareness of the strike zone, well, what do I have to do every day when I hit? I have to practice that trait every time I'm hitting front toss, BP, scrimmages, and then I'm holding myself accountable. So you literally are just not like, I had a pretty good day at the plate, Dad. Well, let's talk about the process, because you did a few things well. But if you want to be elite, you have to identify. So let's talk about infield play. What are the components of an elite infielder? Like today, we worked on slow rollers for let's just say 2 hours, okay? Most of those kids work on one slow roller at the end of their fungos, and they go, okay, finish it up, slow roller. What's left unintended goes unintended. What goes unintended will soon diminish and decline. If you take 1 slow roller 4 times a week, that's 4 slow rollers in the week. So how are you developing that skill? That's an elite skill to being an elite infielder. You do it 4 times a week, and that's what most infielders do. So we went through 5 different slow roller plays. 2-hand, slow hand, bare hand, 1-hand, rake through, come and get it, high chopper. So we're going through these plays. Well, when do they ever work on them? They don't. They go fungos. Short hops. Well, what's left unintended goes unintended. It diminishes and declines. So you have to have a plan.
Right.
And you have to identify the qualities that you want to possess, and then you have to plan them and work them. Plan the hunt, hunt the plan. Okay? You got to plan it, then you hunt it. We don't sit down and it's a business approach to being an elite player. People just show up and they take their hats and say, someone's going to like me, I'm going to get a scholarship, and I'll play in the big leagues. No, you won't. Because from the big league side, we're looking for qualities that hitters have. Right now, we're looking for guys that don't swing and miss. That's what we're looking for. Scouts are looking for low swing and miss. We're looking for a hard hit average. We're looking for guys that get on base. Okay? We're looking for guys that barrel balls regularly. So the question is let's put those after your tournament. How many balls did you barrel? We use a scale, 8 to 10. Out of 10, and when the tournament's over, you got up 15 times. You got walked 4, so now you have 11 at-bats. How many of those 11 at-bats were you on an 8 to 10? And the kids will say, no, that was a 5, I missed it down, I popped, that was a 3, okay, I rolled over them now, that was a 7. Okay, so they go through their hard hit average, and they start going, you should barrel like 90% and you're out. How many times you swing and miss in the tournament? How many times you strike out? So they start going, interesting, so they evaluate the plan.
Right.
But they don't have a plan. They say, how many hits did I get, Pops? And who are the pitchers you're facing? So plan the hunt. You have to plan it, and then whatever you leave unintended, let me tell you something, it's not getting better, it's going to decline. So you have to sit back and take a business approach to what you want to be good at. Now, let's talk about stealing bases. I mean, I'm not going to talk about it now because I've talked enough, but if I want to be a base stealer, what do I have to do? I want to be really good off guys that glide step, guys that are slow to the plate, lefties, the different types of lefties. Okay, I want to be good at stealing first and second, delay steals, straight steals, leave early steals, all these different types of steals. Well, how do you get good at them? By working them.
Right.
But who works on it? They don't. You know why they're average base stealers? You know why when they show up in college, they don't want to steal? Because they never worked on it. They didn't develop the craft.
Right.
So identify what you want to be good at. Then put the qualities you want to master, then you put it into your calendar, and then you work the plan.
Great advice. Coach, got anything you want to add to it?
Yep. Put your team first. We say it all the time, but you know, this is the way I would plant this nugget to bring it home to anybody who's listening. Is anybody can be a good teammate when things are going your way. The challenge comes when you're struggling personally. And we learn the most about a player when they're struggling personally. And so do your teammates. So if you're a rah-rah guy when things are always going your way, you know, that's not going to carry much weight. The true teammates, when they're struggling, can shake off their personal disappointments and be happy for their teammates, immediately be cheering for their teammates. Their body language is that of a team guy. And you know, when you can be the team guy during those times, and then you start playing well again, you know, you get back in your groove, that's when people really respect who you are. I think your ultimate respect is earned during times of difficulties. And everybody's a me, you know, myself, what am I going to get, where am I going kind of guy right now. And I think as parents and players, that's a dangerous place to be. I think you can achieve personal goals, of course, within the realm of a team environment. I think it even increases your odds of your goals if you can put your team. We say put your team first. It doesn't mean you're giving up trying to be your best. You're going to be your best, you know, within the team, but be happy, genuinely happy for your teammates when they do well. And, you know, so yes, we're missing that piece in a big way right now in our world, in our society. It's been heading in the wrong direction in the 30 years, 29 that I've been coaching. And it's not going to turn around just because I talk about it. An emphasis and a value has to be placed. I think it starts at home. So parents, you know, instead of how many hits did you get today, you know, how did your team do? How did your teammates do? You know, and of course, just talking about, were you a good teammate? You know, especially when things aren't going well. So that's my advice there, and I could talk for days about it, but you know, that's my nugget.
Well, gentlemen, I do again appreciate both of you coming in. like I said, I've heard you guys speak before and at the convention, and I've listened to you guys, and you give out such great advice today. I mean, even some stuff I listened to today, I've learned to take in, and trust me, as soon as I leave here, first phone call is going to be my son who's in college. Say, hey, I just talked to these guys. I got some stuff for you. But I do appreciate both of you. Thank you very much. Thank you for taking
I
time.
like to just end with, it's not that hard to separate yourself when you live a life that's in line, because players don't. Players love drama. We love the drama. We love the Friday night drama. We love staying out late drama. We love all the drama.
Right.
And the players that avoid drama, you know what happens? They separate themselves immediately. And that guy's on the straight and narrow. That's the road least traveled. It's the road less traveled, and when you get on that road, you know what happens? Doors will open, and if you don't get to the big leagues, you know what happens? You end up being the assistant GM for the LA Dodgers or the Rockies or whoever. You find yourself in places you want to be. You know why? Because you have character and integrity.
Right.
So, don't look back and say, man, I'm different. No, yeah, I am different. Thank you.
Well, again, thank you so much for your guys' advice. I really do. Yeah. And that concludes this week in Baseball Player Profiles with Nate Trosky and Trent Mongero, the Fielding Gurus. Please listen to their podcast on Mondays and Tuesdays. I appreciate your time. Thank you.